September 1st, 1939. German divisions surged across the Polish frontier, launching a campaign of swift, total conquest. But to understand the thunder of these tanks, we must first look back 20 years to a very different crossing, a retreat. November 1918 marked the collapse of Imperial Germany. After 4 grinding years in the mud and blood of the trenches, Kaiser Wilhelm II abandoned his throne. The Allied offensive had broken the German line, and back home, hunger was everywhere. Yet, even as the ink dried on the armistice, a corrosive falsehood began to spread. The stab in the back. The military, many claimed, remained unbeaten on the battlefield, betrayed instead by politicians at home. It was a lie, but it was a powerful one. At precisely 11 o'clock, on the morning of November 11th, the guns finally went silent. 4 years of industrialized slaughter ended. American President Woodrow Wilson arrived in Europe bearing a vision. He championed a League of Nations, a place where disputes would be resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. The Treaty of Versailles formalized this new order. From the wreckage of empires, new states emerged: Austria, Poland, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia. But this reconfiguration contained a latent threat. Millions of German-speaking people were now separated from their cultural homeland. It was a ticking time bomb. To make matters worse, Germany faced crushing financial penalties, 132 billion gold marks in reparations, a sum designed to cripple the economy for generations. Wilson's grand design collapsed almost immediately. The United States Congress refused to join the League, and America withdrew into isolation. The international order was left weakened from its very inception. Germany had transformed. Its monarchy was gone, replaced by a fragile democracy. The Weimar Republic confronted severe challenges from day one: street violence, and then in 1923, hyperinflation. Prices doubled weekly, then daily. Life savings evaporated overnight. From this chaos emerged voices promising restoration. Among them, Adolf Hitler, an Austrian-born veteran of the Great War. Hitler had earned the Iron Cross for bravery. Demobilized in Munich, his inflammatory speeches quickly propelled him to leadership. On November 8, 1923, he attempted an armed coup. The putsch failed. He received a 5-year sentence, though sympathetic authorities released him after only 9 months. During his incarceration, he dictated Mein Kampf, a blueprint that blamed Germany's troubles on Jewish populations and demanded territorial expansion to the east. For 5 years, Germany stabilized. Then, catastrophe struck. In October 1929, Wall Street crashed. The resulting global depression obliterated economies worldwide. German unemployment exceeded 6 million. Only radical movements seemed to offer solutions. By 1932, Hitler's Nazis became a mass phenomenon. And in January 1933, President Hindenburg appointed Hitler Chancellor. Within weeks, the Reichstag building burned. Hitler demanded emergency powers, then banned all opposition. When Hindenburg died in 1934, Hitler declared himself Führer. the absolute leader. For 3 years, he focused on reconstruction, massive public works, like the 5,000-mile Autobahn system, absorbed the unemployed. Secretly, he poured resources into rearmament. He tripled the army, and in 1935, he publicly unveiled the Luftwaffe, a modern air force. Hitler began his expansion. In 1936, German troops reoccupied the Rhineland. Neither Britain nor France objected. Berlin hosted the Olympics, appearing orderly and prosperous. Warning signs existed. The Nuremberg laws stripped Jews of their citizenship, but these attracted limited international attention. The first genuine threats to peace emerged not from Europe, but from the Pacific. By the early 20th century, Japan was a formidable power. But the country faced a critical problem: an exploding population and virtually no natural resources. Their solution lay in Chinese Manchuria. In 1931, Japanese forces seized the province. The League of Nations faced its first major test, and it failed. Japan simply walked out of the room. In 1937, they invaded China. Japan responded with extraordinary brutality. Following the capture of Nanking, an estimated 300,000 civilians were systematically massacred. On December 12, 1937, Japanese bombers even sank the American gunboat, USS Panay. Despite these provocations, Western powers refused to intervene. America was consumed by the Depression, and Britain and France were still traumatized by the Great War. In Italy, Benito Mussolini sought to recreate the Roman Empire. In October 1935, his forces invaded Abyssinia, modern-day Ethiopia. Emperor Haile Selassie appealed to the League for help. The League did nothing. Mussolini's aggression revealed a critical fact: the democracies no longer possessed the will to fight. The power of the dictators would soon be demonstrated in Spain. In 1936, civil war erupted, a clash between fascism and communism. Hitler and Mussolini poured in troops and weapons. The Luftwaffe's Condor Legion used Spain as a laboratory, testing new blitzkrieg tactics. In April 1937, the town of Guernica was obliterated. 6,000 civilians died. By late 1938, the nationalists had trapped their enemies. Franco's victory proved disastrous for the world. Hitler and Mussolini were now certain that the democracies were impotent. Hitler's armies were now on the march. In March 1938, he absorbed Austria into the Third Reich, a sovereign nation gone without a shot being fired. Then he turned on Czechoslovakia. In Munich, on September 29, 1938, France and Britain gave the Sudetenland to Germany in return for a promise of peace. Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain flew back, waving a paper guaranteeing peace in our time. He was wrong. In March 1939, German troops marched into the rest of Czechoslovakia. For the first time, Hitler had seized territory that was not German-speaking. Britain and France finally declared they would fight if he attacked Poland. Hitler cared little. On August 23rd, the Soviet Union and the Third Reich announced a non-aggression pact, a secret agreement to split Poland between them. Now free from any Russian threat, Hitler ordered his forces to prepare. On the evening of August 31st, the German Wehrmacht moved into position. The decision had been made. The world was about to be plunged into war. The road to 1939 was paved with missed opportunities and the echoes of a war that never truly ended. The stage was now set for the most destructive conflict in human history. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Morning WW2 Stories. If you found this account meaningful, please consider subscribing. We return every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with more stories from the Second World War. Until next time, stay curious.